menopause. It's a just a topic that has been coming up a lot lately in my circle. Maybe it's more so me too, because I just turned 40, so maybe it's like buzzing in my mind now as well. But it has been something that's come up so many times. We learn about it in Yoniversity, but because my girls wanted to have an intimate conversation about it, I kind of wanted to have someone come and talk to us that has experience with menopause and with so much more. So I invited Anaiya Sophia here. If you haven't heard of her, I'm going to just allow her to introduce herself. And I'm going to turn my mic off, Anaiya, so you can just like take it away and just introduce yourself. And everyone else will give you time to introduce yourself during this call as well. And yeah, I'm going to turn my mic down, okay?
Hello, ladies. Very nice to see you all up there in your little boxes. Well, when Kim was saying, you know, she's just turning, did you say 40 or 42? Okay. I was thinking, wow, that's a long time ago. But I must say, it was 42 when it first started appearing for me. Now, that is young. And what I'm told and what actually followed through was that we tend to follow our mother's pattern. Now, my mum went into her menopause in very early 40s, and me too, 42 years old, but I didn't know it at the time. I thought that I was just growing grumbly. My character was starting to change. I was becoming pissy, angry, irritated. I wasn't taking fools too easily. And I kind of thought, oh, this is cool, you know, because up until that point, I'd been a joyful, sort of bouncy person. And so things were starting to show on the inner and outer screen. I've just remembered that I haven't actually introduced myself. Hello, my name is Anaiya Sophia, and I live in the French Pyrenees. In fact, I am underneath Chateau de Montségur, which is the old Cathar stronghold. This is why I live here. I was absolutely pulled by my heart to come and be in this region of southern France because of the very profound presence of Mary Magdalene and the Cathars. I've written a few books: Sacred Sexual Union, Womb Wisdom, Sacred Relationships, Fierce Feminine Rising, that kind of thing. So I've been mapping out this female journey in a loving and relatory sense, as well as a mystical path as well. So when Kim says, would you like to come on and speak about menopause? I was like, oh yes, please, definitely. Because I'm 51 years old now, and so far, so good. Everything's mellowed out. My last bleeding cycle was about 2.5 to 3 years ago. So that's a really good sign that it's complete. My mood has regained its normality. But first, I would like to start at the beginning and bring in what were the telltale signs for me. I expect we'll do a little Q&A at the end. Is that right, Kim? Okay, so definitely jot down anything that needs to be raised. I'll try not to go on for too long, but definitely make it recognizable, noticeable. Okay, so 42. The wind started to change, and my character started to take perhaps a darker turn. I didn't know quite what was going on, but I recognized something was going on. I thought that very, very deep trauma was coming up, something I'd never stumbled across in my years of healing. And that is actually what was happening. This is what I was forewarned about with menopause and can now call back from the other side and say, yes, that exactly that happened. Basically, us ladies can swallow a lot of stuff down and keep it down. Resentments, disappointments, angers, jealousies, insecurities, distrust, dishonor, you name it. As we know from our womb studies, the womb and the lower abdomen can carry so much. And it is during the phase of menopause when the womb goes, you know what, I'm not carrying it anymore. It is time. And it's called your maturation process. And so things, I often imagine that it's vapors, like the oracles of Delphi. It's as if the lid on Pandora's box, which is in the womb, starts to undo. And then a few vapors, which are presences, which are inhalations of wisdom. So as Pandora's box starts opening, as the womb starts revealing what she's been carrying all these years, it can obviously float up into your being and start coming out at the most inappropriate times without warning. That was probably stage 2, the quickness to temper. The quickness to temper consciously, which I found very interesting. I had no problem anymore from going to 0 to 10 in 3 seconds flat, whilst being totally awake. So it's not as if I'd lost my rag and then gone, oh God, that was terrible. I'd lost my rag and gone, yes, that was called for. It was wonderful. It was so freeing, so surprising, and it had an energy and a power that I could not hope to keep quiet about. It was wonderful. I called it Sacred Rage. It was running parallel with the writing of one of my books, Fierce Feminine Rising. So it was very hard to know what's actually here. Is this sacred rage flowing through me from the fierce feminine, or am I entering the doors of menopause? In that spirit, it really doesn't matter. It's happening, it's live, it's here, let's go. Stage 3, very difficult. This was the one. This was where I was holding on with white knuckles because I did not want to go to this place. Sexuality took a nosedive. Libido left the building. I had only just got together with my beloved husband, Pete Wilson. So I was very much like, let me show you a few things. I was in the flush of romance, and suddenly all my tricks, all my dances, all my flirtation just took a dive. I lost my desire. And this was extremely worrying for me because I didn't realize it until then. I was built on a sexual confidence and a flirtatious confidence and a seductive confidence. My womanhood, especially when it came to men, was founded on those principles. And those principles were like, oh God, it's sorry, but it's time we left. And I was terrified. I was doing a lot of women's work at the house, Sacred Body Awakening, Womb Wisdom. So every week in would come another troop of gorgeous young women from America, South Africa, Australia, Ireland, in their 20s, in their 30s, and I had nothing. And because the romance was such early days, I didn't know that it had staying power. I didn't know, is this a flash in the pan or is this going to be something real? Dearest ladies, the biggest shadow for me was, well, first of all, it showed up as jealousy. Horrible, terrible. Why do I have jealousy? This is the least thing I want to be carrying as I do my women's work for young women. I wanted to build a hole and throw myself in and say to someone, only come and get me if this horrible green-eyed monster has gone. But I knew to stick with it, and I knew to confess it, especially to myself and especially to my sisters. After the jealousy came the really honest lack of confidence. I'm just a little one. I'm 5'2.5". I'm pretty shapely. I can often appear, what's the word I use? Gregarious. No, not gregarious, that's the character. Voluptuous. Which could translate a little bit slightly overweight. And because of my smallness, it really shows. Well, I must have hidden all of that down, because now it was time for the confessional. It's the maturation process. Here I am in a house full of 20-somethings, stepping into their sexual energy, running around in the tiniest little bikinis. And I had never known such a strong, feminine, tumultuous power come up. And do you know who it reminded me of? Snow White. I think it's Snow White. Which is the one that goes, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most beautiful of them all? I felt like that one. It was horrible. I didn't realize how much I had invested in my appearance and my general physical character. And there's a great movie as well. I think it's called The Witches, and it shows the witch growing old, turning into a crone, and she's trying to drink this elixir to stay young and beautiful. That's what was coming through me by the bucket load. And it was really, really uncomfortable. And it lasted 3 years. 3 flipping years. And I do remember my mum saying to me, when you go through menopause, you can either let it happen to you and come out the other side graceful and elegant, or you can fight it every step of the way and come out the other side brittle and hard. I was a young woman at the time. I was in my 20s going, oh, well, I'll do the graceful and elegant version then. Oh, God. Ladies, it asks a lot of you. And this thing with the libido, everyone's really frightened about that. Yes, it happened to me. I'm still in it. But the glorious thing about losing your libido is that you don't realize you've lost your libido. Something has gone. So there's no like, oh, what was it like? You can't even remember. But, you get given a gift. Something goes, something arrives. My confidence now has returned, and it's genuine. It's genuine. I do not fret or fear about anything, brackets, much, close brackets. Another massive gift is knowingness, knowing the writing on the wall, hearing what's not being said, seeing what's actually unfolding. Just this profound, gorgeous, rich, reliable knowing. And another amazing piece is the opening to the mystical, the opening to the not so much psychedelic, but psychedelic's a good word for the sheer exposure to life in all of its technicolor actuality. I think I must have been a being run very strongly on her hormones. So the desire was strong, the seduction was strong, the flirt was strong, the what number guy shall I catch next was strong. So with all of that gone and dumped, the real me, not moving around like a puppet on hormones, can actually show up. Another issue, strong for me because of this um, yeah, maybe addiction or my confidence was built on the physical, was the rapid change of the body. I am and decided at the very beginning and shall decide right through to the other end, even though a lot of people say never, and I look at them and I'm saying, I say never. I haven't done a goddamn thing about it. No Botox, no hormones, no HRT, no nipping, no tucking, no gym. I haven't even changed my diet because I'm just living because I'm renovating this house at the moment. The body and the face is changing very, very quickly. And that was another very difficult, crunchy, ouch, I'm treading on glass type moment to see how rapid this can happen. I didn't have babies. So my last physical period of changes was when I was 15, 16, 17, going through puberty. So I've had this beautiful, easy life as a woman. And now, boom, we're going to get you with the menopause. I often wonder, is it different for women who didn't have children? Is their menopause different in some way? Is the womb, the ovaries, and the hormones sort of like ready to take her on a journey that will make up for no mothering? I don't know. It's definitely worth a question. I am one of the first ones in my little peer group. I've got ladies, dearest friends, middle 50s, 56, 57, nowhere near their menopause. I'm like, wow. So I can't really have this conversation with my peer group yet because they're either really young, in their 40s, or they're late 50s and still having their regular bleeding cycles. I wonder, what are the biggies? Well, maybe I go over to you guys.
I think that
I think that
that's just a
that's just
beautiful
a
place to
beautiful
look at.
place to look at.
I didn't get everything you said because you were echoing, and I don't know if
Oh,
you're able to repeat it.
absolutely. So I was saying that I think that it's great to open up this discussion so that open up a discussion that allows us to hear more about something to celebrate during menopause instead of always hearing things that we always kind of feel like fearful of, you know, like if we're thinking something is negative about loss of libido or hot flashes, you know, like the common things we always hear is something always to be frightful of. There's nothing really to celebrate. And having this conversation, Anaiya talks about releasing something and receiving something. And she also talks several times about, you know, gaining a power, gaining a strength, right? And I think that's important for us to think about too. As we initiate into our menstrual phase, we gain a power there. And as we initiate into our menopausal phase, we also gain a power there. So it's something, there's a positive aspect to these transitions in our lives.
I think there's a lot of
There's a
research
lot of
that needs to
research
be done.
that needs to be done.
Trans, I'm echoing again. Echo, echo, echo.
No, you're clear.
Okay, I thought I heard an echo. So one of my teachers, she's part of the Maya tradition, and her partner is a Mayan man, and we've been talking about menopause too. She's 50 years old. She's a clinical herbalist, and in other traditions, women, there's no such thing as perimenopause. You just kind of like go into it, you stop bleeding, and then life just goes on, and there's not all this, they don't have hot flashes, they don't get enraged. And so it makes me wonder too, it's like, you know, since industrialized revolution came upon and women aren't in circles anymore, I feel that women coming together kind of help regulate hormones. And for women to not even bleed, you know, on the new moon and ovulate on the full moon, I mean, that's how women's bodies were designed to cycle and be connected with nature. And if we didn't, we knew something was wrong with us because we weren't synced up. So it's like, I really feel today women are being called to action to take their medicine back and to take their power back and to sync up and to link up. And it's this divide and conquer thing that's been happening for you know, centuries maybe, or a couple centuries. It's not helping humanity. But you know, I'm 55 years old and I've had a lot of issues. I had a breast reduction surgery, and then that messed up with my endocrine system. So I stopped having periods, and then it would come back on again and off again. And it was really triggered with emotions, where there was this one time I had a consistent menses, and then I moved in with my best friend, her husband and daughter, and I stopped having a period because I was actually my best friend's surrogate husband, because he was a film director, so he was never home. And then I was his second wife, and then I was their daughter's auntie. And then when I moved out, my period came back on. So I was put in this weird, interesting relationship dynamic in this household where I wasn't even who I was supposed to be as, you know, as a woman. And then once I stopped, my cycle started coming back on again because I didn't have these outside circumstances. It was just this really dysfunctional codependent relationship basically. And there was no sex involved, which is really sad, but yeah, but I just, yeah, our periods are just this really mystical thing. And I also feel too, with the hot flashes and the lack of libido, there's this sense of like our bodies want to create. And so it's, you know, when our ovum and the sperm, they're the most pure things of creation on this planet. It creates another being. And so when we're not cycling, we get to create something completely different. And I've talked to many women that are 70 years old that still ejaculate when they have orgasms. So it's, you know, it's this transition. And I think also too, with like a lot of the anger and the hot flashes, there's this physiological thing happening where our, you know, our livers are not happy, and it throws off a lot of heat and a lot of anger. And there's a great, sorry, I'm just rattling on. Is that okay? Okay. There, like women that do Tai Chi, no, Qigong. There's this great book. Can I go grab a book for you ladies?
Sure, you're fine.
Okay. It's called the, it's called the Taoist. This is what the book looks like. So it goes into all the different menstrual cycles and different transitions in life. And it shows you too, where like what's happening with your body. And when you're healthy, all the organs are happy. So it tells you about the yin and the yang. And anyway, I just got it, and it's really fascinating. And if you're wanting to prepare your body for, menopause, it might be a great book to have in your library.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that it's definitely important for us to gather like this. Not only just because the healing within gathering, but also because, hold on one second. I just don't want this to, it is, okay. Can you guys see me still?
Yes, Kim.
Okay, I got taken out of the screen on my end, so let me just here we go. So because just sharing that information of kind of questioning and researching more about how menopause is experienced in other cultures, and how different exercises will support the body in different ways, right? Because I feel like some women, without having this discussion, don't know or understand that I also agree that certain lifestyles will affect the way that you experience menopause, just like certain lifestyles will affect the way that you experience childbirth. And of course, my mother would call during the circle, right? The perfect person to call, to hop on this call. But so I think that's important, just when we gather like this, that we're opening ourselves up to this type of information. That's all I was saying. Does anybody else want to share something before? She knows I'm on this call, right? I'll call you back, Mom. She literally called me before the call and was like, so I seen you're having a training, and I'm just letting you know I can't be there. I'm like, okay. And she calls during it. But does anyone have anything else that they would like to share, or any questions that they would like to ask Anaiya? If you do, just chime in. Hi, Nanya.
Hi, I would love to share or ask a question. Oh,
okay.
Sorry. Do you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, great. Hi, ladies. Sorry, I've got my camera off because I'm on the beach right now.
Oh, nice.
But
and
I didn't.
I've been reading your comments. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, no, pleasure. I really want to thank you both for creating this. Thank you. Anaiya, I have been waiting for you actually to come out and speak on this topic, my love. You've been one of the key inspirations for me on my whole kind of women's awakening journey, and for years now. And I know you've been going through this really kind of dark tunnel of into crondom, and yeah, I had a question actually, and yeah, I just wanted to thank you both so much for putting this together. It feels like there are very few real wise women out there actually who can speak to us on this topic, and yeah, and you really are one of those. So just wonderful to hear your sharing, and really touched by the bumps in the road and how it is. And actually my sharing is so I'm approaching 40, and for the last I don't know, 7 years, as the kind of the womb awakening has been really intensifying, I've found that my journey has been predominantly over these years. I come from a similar background of being a yogini for a long while, a tantrika, and suddenly that denial of the red river was calling me into all the shadow work and into trauma, basically trauma healing, trauma resolution, the last 7 years. And what I'm curious about, as I'm speaking with other women about perimenopause, a few women, not many in my my sort of field actually, but I'm noticing that there might be real close similarities between the symptoms and the phenomena of trauma resolution and perimenopause, menopause, in terms of what happens in the body, and the very sort of very physical purging, the hot flushes, and I've experienced a lot of body pain, fluctuations in my hormones, having to really stay on top of my diet, as basically the gut becomes incredibly tender. headaches, all kinds of different physical phenomena. And this is something that I'm contemplating, actually, like hearing your journey, and it's so touching, and I can resonate so much. I remember some years ago teaching a women's retreat, and I went through exactly the same thing. You know, my body, so you know, I would have been in my mid-30s, but my body had become round, and I was no longer this sort of very slim yogini, and all these 20-something ladies showed up on my retreat, and I was just, you know, on my knees in so much shame, actually, a lot of shame. And I remember the chapter of realizing that my body and my youth can no longer be used as a tool anymore to, you know, in terms of relationship and that kind of thing. Yeah, narcissism and abuse and all, many things that I know you know a lot about. And yeah, I'm just sitting with the question of, is it possible that, to me, this journey has really felt like an initiation into crondom. You know, some days I would wake up and I would look about 80 if I looked in the mirror. My face would just look so old. And I'm wondering if this is actually true. As you say, you know, so much we have in this lifetime. Do you still hear me? I think I was hearing an echo again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. I got a
I think
real
I'm
sense
echoing,
of
but that was simply my question, just seeing the correlation between.
Even as you pose this, I'm
Sorry, I'll mute
contemplating.
myself.
Even as you pose this, I'm contemplating, because we are the generation who has taken on this healing with both hands and said, yes, you know, this path of cleansing, purifying, this is for me. So I'm wondering whether we have removed so many layers that by the time we reach our menopausal years, the real primal wound is actually very, very available to be seen, to be accessed. Because if I think about my mum, and my mum lives with me now, so we can converse quite easily about this. When my mum reached menopause, she was ready to stop working. She felt tired, fatigued. She felt like she'd been a mother. She felt that she'd worked enough long hours in years. And as for my grandmother, well, she didn't actually live too much longer after her menopause. So as we look back, we can see the ancestors were perhaps feeling older, feeling tired, ready to quit work, ready to go into retirement. And of course, we're not. We are not like our mothers and grandmothers. And so I often think, wow, this is going to be really interesting. Because you've got some women now who've accessed their authenticity. They've got their real, honest confidence. They are majorly awake and switched on to the actual currents that are presented in the circumstance and situation. And they've got access to their primal wound, the one which projects and ignites all of the shadow self. Now, this is some serious badass women that are coming into their crone years, and the gift of menopause is like shoving a stick of dynamite under their bottoms. They are about to explode out and hopefully onto the world stage to bring through some serious revolution and evolution. We are not our mothers, we are not our grandmothers. It's not time for retirement. Far from it. And I think these gifts, these really clean and accessible gifts, are so available to us because we've spent our 20s and our 30s and our 40s stripping back, crying, grieving, praying, awakening. So there's a very different class of woman entering her crondom, and that's pretty scary to the patriarchy, I would imagine. So I think that last beautiful lady is quite right. The close appearance of this rage that's coming up is the traumas, the deep-seated traumas. But now there's
I want the end of what you said a little bit, because I missed some of what you said at the end, unfortunately.
I think I was ending with something like a different quality of woman is going into menopause at this time, 2020, 2021, 2022, the era of the pandemic. And she's not ready for retirement. She's not tired, she's not fatigued, she's not weary. She may be, but she's also got a heck of a lot of lioness within her. And I believe this is going to be a very interesting time in the next couple of years. You know, to have that faculty. And I must say, the extension and the depth of the wisdom is, I really want to emphasize just how massive this piece is. It's not a subtle shift. It's not like, oh, I feel more awake. I feel, you know, I have access to more realms. No, it is like it's like eating the apple from Eve. Suddenly you have access to it all. And it comes with a seeing, it comes with a hearing, it also comes with a feeling. So be ready, ladies, to go on that feeling symphony. There are emotions and feelings that I don't have words for anymore because we haven't named them yet. New emotions, new feelings, new nuances. It's like the system becomes alive with a whole new palette of color and taste and sound. And that is the gift I feel that I was given because I let the appearance thing go. I let it go. I was willing to let it go. I'm not gonna hold on. I'm not gonna hope I don't age. I'm like, yes, I am aging, but by golly, I'm being given such a huge gift.
Well, I love that, Anaiya Sophia. You know I love you. She is definitely someone that has guided me along my journey when I began just starting on my womb wellness journey. And that was, I feel like 10 years now. I feel like it's been about 10 years. I had actually, when I came across your work, Anaiya, I had just opened my own wellness center. Was not focused on womb healing, but was focused on all other modalities of holistic health, and was diagnosed with PCOS and severe anemia, and was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I was working with a chiropractor with some, with some energy work and stuff that I was helping her with. And she comes and she brings me one of your books and she's like, here, read this. And I'm like, okay, this looks good. And that was my journey. Now today, probably like 10 something years later, I have my holistic wellness center online, and I have my online school, Yoniversity, that teaches women about reproductive health, which Anaiya is a part of that as well. And I know you have some great things going on because I've been watching your events. Can you share with the girls that are on the call some of the events that you have coming up?
Absolutely. Well, I think the big one is this house that me, Mum, and Pete have bought. Oh my gosh, it's so magical. It's so amazing. Every single day I have to pinch myself. Is this really, really real? And of course, it's right in the beating heart of Cathar, France. It's so romantic. It's so mystical. It's so pure. It's so joyful. We're hoping that we're going to have some guests come out this year. In fact, there's a Sacred Body Awakening starting this Friday, and the border of France opens up tomorrow. And we don't have to be vaccinated. All we need is a negative test, and everyone's allowed in. Americans, other Europeans, Australians. So it could be a slow gathering this year, but that's good. It'll give us plenty of time to know what works, what doesn't work. I think the big one for me this year is that so many women, so many mothers have gone through the Sacred Body Awakening, and they all say the same thing. Please, can we provide a space for our daughters? Yikers! That's what's coming next. I don't know if you ladies have ever seen the movie Kama Sutra. I can't remember what the little strap line is, but it's not some sort of explicit X-rated sex movie. That's not the version I'm talking about. This is a beautiful movie, and in it there is this older woman called Deva Rasi, and she has a school for love. And all these little girls come to the school, 8, 9, 10 years old, and Devarasi is an older concubine, and she is beautiful. And she teaches all these young girls how to dance, how to do their feet, how to do their hair, the hands, the eyes. And I remember looking, going, I want that job. I really want that job. Well, it looks like that job's arrived, because I'm doing the first Sacred Body Awakening for a bunch of young ladies this summer.
That's so exciting. I would love that if my daughter would be able to attend something like that. I mean, she's turning 18 now, which is blowing my mind. But I would love her to be able to experience something like that. I share with her, the work that I do, of course. But I'm mom. No teenager cares about what mom is doing, honestly. And she definitely doesn't. She's into it as far as wanting to support me and, just be a great daughter for me. But she's not paying attention. But I took her out to a ceremony one time that Queen Afua actually had. And she was so amazed. And I was like looking at her eyes light up, and I was like, yes. So I need someone outside to come in and talk to her, right? Because she's like, oh, this is what mom does. What mom does is, it's all right, Her friends always have to like tell her after I've said something. Even with waist beads, I'm like, you should try waist beads. Taught her all about it. She was like, no thanks, mom. And then like 2 weeks later, she's like, remember those waist beads? All my friends are talking about them. I need some. And I was like, oh God, this girl. But I would love to be able to introduce her to something like that. And do you girls have daughters on here? The girls that are on here?
Yes, I have a daughter.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's quite something, as I said earlier, to not have babies, to not have, sons and daughters, to suddenly be entrusted with all of these sons and daughters, because, the mamas who've got boys are like, what about my boy? Let me send you my boy. And I'm like, you don't know what to do with your boy. But the thing is, I do know what to do with your boy. I'm just flipping scared.
Right.
But at least it's honest, at least it's real, and it will happen. I will get over my scaredness.
No way.
You're mute, Kim.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was asking, Anaiya, do you have anything coming up online? Any circles online?
No, I don't think so. No, I'm really kind of hands-on at the moment now. Yeah, all in the house.
Exciting. And it's exciting about visiting your new place. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes peeled for that, especially if you say this year everything is opening up. I definitely want to keep my eyes peeled for that. All right, ladies, if no one has anything else to share, I'm going to let you ladies go. I enjoyed this time. Anaiya, thank you so much for holding space for us and sharing with us today. You can find more information about Yoniversity Online Training Academy on our Instagram page at Yoniversity Online Academy. And our website is yoniversity.us. And thank you, girls, for joining us. I look forward to meeting up more this year, online and definitely in person, right? The energy is different. The vibe is different. Anaiya, whatever you like to say before we go, and then we'll just close out. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies. Well, I would just like to say the common way of saying goodbye to people here. Remember, I'm living in Qatar, France, and that is to stand before you, hold your right hand with my right hand, come and lay my heart on your heart, and whisper in your ear, may peace be with you.
I love that.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Bye, guys.